The train to Niš. One warm August morning in 1884, all the inhabitants of Belgrade excitedly hurried down towards the train station. Old and young, rich and poor, educated and unschooled alike. Everyone eagerly awaited Serbia's first train, which would leave Belgrade for Niš at around 8:25. A large crowd gathered in front of the big new train station building on the bank of the Sava. Decorations were hung everywhere. Flags were flying, an orchestra played the Serbian anthem, and cannons were fired from the Belgrade fortress in celebration of the event. That morning was the first time that many of those gathered had seen trains, tracks, and even platforms in their lives. Up until then, only Belgrade's more world-wise inhabitants, who had travelled through Europe for work and trade, had known anything about the railway. Others had listened to stories and dreamed of trains like we dream of rockets and space exploration today. But they had not yet had the opportunity to see the big, noisy locomotives pulling mighty wagons. Vasilia, a curious young 7-year-old from Kosančica Venac, was one of those who had not yet had a chance to see them. And he, like many others, rushed down to see this new Belgrade miracle that morning. But Vasilia had his own plan: to secretly board a train and take it to the South Pole, to see if people there really stood upside down. That's what his grandmother Stana had told him, at least. She would take a rag ball in her hands and start explaining to him. "Vaso, my child, you see, if we stand upright here on Earth, then those on the other side of the planet hang upside down. They probably get a lot of headaches. We're lucky to have been born in Belgrade. If we lived down at the South Pole, all our things would fall out of our pockets. Oof! That would be too much." If Vaso's father had heard these words, he'd have been angry with Grandma Stana, his own mother. "Don't teach the child incorrect things, mother. They don't walk around upside down and they don't get headaches. It's the same for them there as it is for us here in Belgrade." But Vaso wasn't sure who to believe. One of them was wrong, and he had to confirm it for himself. He had overheard some ladies in the neighbourhood saying that the first trains in Serbia were going all the way to Niš, and that it would take almost an entire day to travel. "That Niš must be somewhere near the South Pole, since it takes so long to travel," concluded Vaso. He put a few sugar cubes in his pocket, just in case he got hungry, and set off on his scientific expedition. Due to the hustle and bustle, the controller at the train station didn't notice Vaso when he sneaked behind him, climbed the steep steps, and entered the train. The boy didn't have a ticket, so, worried that the conductor would see him, he hurried through several carriages and settled into a compartment at the very rear of the train. He waited a few minutes, and then there was a loud choo-choo before the wheels started turning and the train began to move. A band struck up a tune and people waved. Vaso was so excited he could barely breathe. Chugga, chugga, choo, choo, chugga, chugga, choo, choo. Vaso sat back and enjoyed this sound for a while, constantly thinking about how he would get to see the South Pole. His only worry was that he hadn't brought a sweater, because he remembered stories about how cold it was over there. But there was no going back now. After many hours of travel, somewhere near Aleksinac, the train began to slow. The sound of the engine died down. The wheels' turns became weaker and weaker, and finally, the train stopped. It became clear that something was wrong. Soon there was a murmur from all the carriages as the conductor marched through the train shouting, "There's nothing to worry about! Just a few more seconds and we'll be back on our way." However, as time passed, people became impatient and started to fidget in their compartments. They began to get off the train and to ask around and see what was happening for themselves. And you won't believe what it was. In the middle of the tracks, without an owner or even a saddle, stood a donkey with long ears. He looked disinterestedly left and right, up and down, but it was clear to everyone that neither the train nor the crowd gathered around bothered him at all. As Vaso watched on, a man in uniform tried to push him, obviously wanting him to move off the tracks, but to no avail. The donkey just stood there, as if someone had glued his hooves to the ground. He didn't budge even a single centimetre. One after another, people lined up, getting rougher and rougher, tugging his ears, hitting his hind, shouting at him. One lady even tried to explain to him in a kindly voice how it was not nice to stand in the middle of the tracks and that he should move to the side so they could continue their journey. But the donkey still did nothing. He stubbornly stood in the same spot, showing complete disinterest. After about 2 hours of unsuccessful attempts, Vaso approached the conductor and said, "Please, can I try?"
"You? A mere urchin? How could you possibly do it? Even the strongest adults here can't succeed," the conductor angrily retorted. "Get out of my sight!"
However, the lady who had gently tried to talk to the donkey overheard these harsh words and jumped in to defend Vaso. "Shame on you! You're yelling at a child, and why shouldn't he try when no one else has managed? Go on, little man," she said politely, turning to Vaso. "Have a try. We don't have anything to lose." Vaso took the sugar cubes he had bought from home out of his pocket. He was so excited about going to the South Pole that he had forgotten to eat them. But the donkey didn't care about any pole, south or north, and as soon as he saw the sugar cubes in Vaso's hand, he went to follow him. The donkey ate the sweet white cubes in a few seconds flat, and then, just as disinterested as before, headed off to a nearby patch of grass. The trek was clear. Everyone was delighted and cheered young Vaso. The train headed off once more, finally arriving in Niš around 10 at night. Vaso was afraid of the dark and didn't really feel like hiking to the South Pole in those small hours. He saw that there in Niš, the people weren't tilted to the side even the slightest, and certainly not hanging upside down like at the South Pole. The only thing he found odd was that he was so close to the pole and yet didn't even need a sweater. Vaso slept in the train's carriage overnight and returned to Belgrade the next day. It wasn't until a few years later that Vaso would learn that it would take a long, long journey to get from Niš to the South Pole, and that there are no trains or tracks on which to make the trip. He would have to fight waves, winds, seas, and oceans to get there. But by that time, Vaso had fallen in love with trains. That's why he still travels with them across the whole of Europe to this day. They say he was seen a few days ago in the city of Bordeaux, in France. He always carries a box of sugar cubes under his arm, just in case, and thinks out loud to himself, why would anyone in this world ever have a headache?